cost of no-fault insurance has become astronomical, an average of more than $200 million a year. When you think about this program that had the goal of reducing the time and trouble to get a claim paid and to lower the cost of litigation, to think how corrupted it has been and why it was corrupted is really a very, very sad state of affairs. All of the district attorneys in this state are fully in support of the change for no-fault insurance to deal with several problems. First of all, to deal with the runners, so-called steerers. And there's no independent criminal act that these people can commit. What they do is a lot of mischief. Among other things, they stage accidents. And also, they refer phony claimants to fraudulent medical clinics and to crooked lawyers. And there's been no legislation, significant legislation, to penalize these folks. In addition to which, once a provider or their cohorts are convicted, even if they got jail time, and we prosecuted a number of providers, all of us, they then open up on a new name and with no sanction. And another thing this statute does is to change all that. If you open up under a new name, a new entity, you could be fined serious, significant cost, civil cost. The last part of the statute, probably in the scheme of things, is the most important, is that the law required an insurance company to pay a claim within 30 days. And in a industry which has so much fraud, that is grossly unfair and inadequate. And so what the legislature is proposing is an extension of the 30 days upon a showing that there is some reason to believe that a claim may be suspect. And then there's an opportunity to submit to arbitration. Now, an insurance company who goes that route, of course, runs the risk of paying interest costs if the arbitrator finds against them. But under the current state of the law, they must pay interest costs if they don't pay the claim within 30 days, and they lose the right to disclaim So we believe the changes of all of that will have a significant effect on lowering the fraud level here in New York State.
I just want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing in Nassau, which is why I'm here to support this great legislation. We are tackling this problem in Nassau County by creating an auto theft and fraud unit. It has specially trained prosecutors and investigators who are charged with addressing this issue and trying to eliminate it. But I can tell you, even with that unit, Nassau County residents still pay 130% over the statewide average. That's crazy. And that tells me that without stronger penalties, we are not going to be able to address this epidemic sufficiently. DA Hines laid out exactly what this law would allow us to do. It would give DAs like all of us standing here and those all across the state the ability to more aggressively prosecute all of those involved in no-fault insurance fraud. And I'm calling, as with everyone here today, on our legislators in Albany to do the right thing and support us so we can give some measure of relief during these difficult financial times to residents all across the state.
As a former prosecutor and a trial attorney, I can tell you that insurance fraud is a multi-million-dollar business. Taxpayers pay that money. Ratepayers pay that money. The only people benefiting from not reforming are the criminals and the attorneys. That's it. Everyone else pays. These are common sense reforms that need to happen. I'll be introducing resolutions at the city level, supporting all this legislation, and be working with the people behind me to ensure that Albany does the right thing. Thank you.
We're also joined by Letitia Green from the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. Now I'd like the Chief Assistant from Staten Island, Jim Coleman, to say.
There's not much that I can add to the comments of District Attorneys Brown and Hines. Dan Donovan, the District Attorney of Staten Island, asked me to say that he enthusiastically supports because of the fraud that's perpetrated each and every day among the citizens of New York, and he enthusiastically supports this proposed legislation.
Chief Assistant DA in Manhattan, representing Osiris Vance, Dan Alonzo.
Thank you, DA Hines. DA Vance sent me here for one reason and one reason only, to tell you about the desperate need in New York for an anti-runner law. It's been 12 years since the state of New Jersey passed its anti-runner law, which is a national model. New York is long overdue for coming in line at a minimum with New Jersey. Now, why do we need this law? The reason is because it criminalizes the payment by clinics, lawyers, doctors for patients and clients. And the reason that that's important is to dry up the supply of patients and therefore root out fraud. It's just like when New York arrests people for possessing loaded guns to try to prevent shootings. We're arresting people. We want to have the power to prosecute people for paying for patients to dry up the supply of fraud. So DA Vance calls on the state legislature to act on the proposal that we have thrown out for a runner bill with all due haste. Thank you.
Any questions? Yes.
Is this legislation that's currently been introduced already, or what's the status of it?
It's pending before the Senate and the Assembly.
Does it have a chance this term? Or?
We think it's got a very, very good chance. There's some terrific sponsors on both houses. And it certainly makes perfect sense, and it's, as Dan Alonzo mentioned, it's long overdue.
The rates vary from borough to borough, but in the Bronx, for example, you pay 272% higher than the statewide average. In Brooklyn, it's 185% higher than the statewide average. 167 in Queens, 130 in Nassau, 110 in Manhattan, and 67 in Staten Island. So basically, New Yorkers are paying much, much more than the rest of the state because of fraud, which takes out about $200+ million every year out of the pockets of New Yorkers.
We've all prosecuted Medicaid mills, and they've become much more sophisticated over the years. They've learned how to cover their tracks pretty well. Having the leverage to prosecute a runner who stages an accident, or steers people to these Medicaid mills, gives us a great opportunity to flip them against the Medicaid provider.
Is there any opposition to this bill,
Seriously?
There's always opposition in Albany.
Yeah. Okay.
What negative effects do you think the bill might have on runners with legitimate claims?
Well, actually, the arbitration provision is beneficial to both sides. If an insurance company gets it wrong on asking that the claim be sent to an arbitrator, they can still be significantly fined with interest and denied the right to this claim. So I think there is very little chance that an honest claimant is not going to get paid properly. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
You'd like to ask you, you described how serious the fraud insurance is now.
It's huge. It's more than $200 million a year. And it has been allowed to get worse and worse because there's no punitive sanctions against the people who are at the core of this, the so-called runners or steerers, because they stage accidents without really any penalty, and they also will steer dishonest claimants to dishonest medical providers or dishonest lawyers. With this statute, it makes it a Class C felony to stage an accident. Now, the punishment for a Class C felony after conviction is 15 years. And it says that anyone who makes beyond $10,000 in this corrupt act faces a D felony, which is up to 7 years. If it's over 5,000, it's an E felony, facing up to 4 years. Putting that aside, that gives us great leverage to go to someone who is facing that kind of prison time and saying, here's your options. You're going to go the full load to prison, or you're going to give up your provider. You're going to testify against them. for a reduced sanction. Right now, we really don't have that power. Good to see you guys. We're like the last living people here, right? Good to see you. Good. Again,
Can I ask you another
Sure.
question? Like, how effective do you think the new bill is to prevent this kind of fraud?
I think once it's promoted and understood, I believe it's going to have a very, very serious impact. I think it's going to scare the hell out of people. That's what you've got to do.